It was in 1969. His name's Dr. Richard Day. And he was a big-time Rockefeller family insider. The Rockefellers are in this network. And no one knows why he did it, but I'm glad he did. He stood up at a meeting of pediatricians in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, because he was in the medical profession. And he asked them to turn off recording equipment, and he asked them not to take notes, because he was now going to tell them how the world was going to change, because what he represented, he was only a gopher for it, mind, was going to change it. And what he said that night in 1969 is absolutely stunning.
Which was?
In the sense of the world that we now live, in detail. And you know one of the things he said in 1969? That there is an agenda. It's not happening randomly.
Right.
This term, conspiracy theorist, conspiracy theory, which is now used as a term of debunking. Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. What's the conspiracy? What's the dictionary definition? It's two or more people conspiring to bring about an outcome. We're drowning in them on that basis. The question is, though, where did the widespread use of conspiracy theory and conspiracy theories come from?
Where?
It came from the CIA. Provable fact. During the 1960s, when people staggeringly, I mean, you know, why would they, were questioning the fact that a magic bullet had gone through several people in Kennedy's car and ended up in him, were questioning the fact that his head went back as seen on the Zapruder film taken by an onlooker, and they blame a guy who's supposed to be behind him. Do they have bullets that do U-turns, do they? So people were questioning that increasingly. And the CIA put out a document, you can still, I published it in one of my books, to the major media in America, giving a list of things to use to discredit those that were questioning the Kennedy assassination. Of course, later Martin Luther King and the others of the 60s. And among them was, use the term conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorist, because what does that do? It gives the idea that it's only theory. Now, do conspiracy theories exist? Of course, because you say, well, looking at the evidence, you know, I think this is probably what happened. That's a theory. But if people read my books, a couple of them, one of them's 1,000 pages, one of them's not much smaller, you see enormous amounts of interconnecting evidence, not least from insiders and whistleblowers and what have you. Because once you do what I do, people are attracted to you to get the information out. You see, it's not a theory. It's backed up by substantial fact, but you can destroy all of that in one word or one phrase. Look at a human life. You come out of the womb and you're immediately influenced in your perceptions by your parents who've been through the process you're about to go through. Very soon, ludicrously soon, after entering this world, you find yourself sitting at a desk with an authority figure now telling you what is, what isn't, what's right, what's wrong, what's credible, what's not credible, when you can go to the toilet, when you can eat, when you can talk. And this goes on through your formative years, where the system's version of everything, what I call the postage stamp consensus, because it's so narrow, is downloaded into people. And then they go off into the institutions, they become journalists, they become scientists, they become doctors, they become politicians, they become CEOs or whatever. And they take with them that core version of normal they've been, and limitation possibility, that they have been downloading all their lives. And then the people in these institutions then confirm to each other that this norm is normal. So a journalist who's doing a story about, say, a health situation won't go to an alternative practitioner who may have had great success in it. He'll go to a doctor who'll give him postage stamp normal. Defends itself and protects itself because of the crime of being different, which increasingly, that's what we're seeing. Not just increasingly, it's gone on throughout known human history. Religion police the postage stamp, science polices the postage stamp, politics polices the postage stamp, now the Twitter stormers police the postage stamp. But what happened to me was I was minding my own business. I mean, as Eamon said, I was saying, hello, good evening, here's the sport. And then during 1981, 1982, no, what was it? 1988, 89. I was a spokesman for the Green Party, and I was a presenter with the BBC, and I got this feeling increasingly through 1988 and then into 1989 when the Green Party had that massive European election success. I felt when I was in a room alone, I wasn't alone. I didn't understand it, know anything about it. And it got to the point in the spring of 1990 when I was in the Kensington Hilton Hotel working for the BBC. And I just finished working, and I came back to the room, and I sat on the side of the bed. And I looked out into the room, and the fact that there was some presence there I didn't understand was so tangible by now. I actually said into the room, if there's something there, would you please contact me, because drive me up the wall. About maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, I was with my son Gareth, a little boy then, and he went into a newsagent's shop, to cut a long story short. He was looking at the books, and I went in after him. It was at Ryde on the Isle of Wight. The shop's still there. And I said to him, come on, Gaz, we'll go up in the town and get some lunch. And as I turned, my feet wouldn't move, and I felt, I know what it was now, it was an electromagnetic field, but a very strange atmosphere was around me. And I wouldn't say, it wasn't a voice, it was a very strong thought form, right? It said, go and look at the books on the far side. Now, I knew that shop very well. I went too often. And the books on the far side were Mills and Boon and Barbara Cartland. What the heck am I going over there for? So anyway, I start walking in that direction in total bewilderment. And in among these books of, Barbara Cartland, etc., was this one which was called Mind to Mind. And there's a woman face on the front. And because it was different to the rest, I picked it up, looked at the blurb, and I saw the word psychic. And it was the autobiography of this psychic and how she works. And I thought immediately, I wondered if she'll know or pick up what the hell's happening to me in this last year. So I didn't tell her anything. All I said to her was, I've got arthritis, maybe your hands-on healing might help, and nothing about what was going on. And when I went to see her, well, nothing happened the first time, but the second and third times, the atmosphere in the room dramatically changed, and I felt this like spider's web on my face suddenly while she's doing the hands-on healing stuff, which is just an exchange of energy. And of course my backside's now slipping down the bench now, because I'm thinking, I read about this in her book, that you can feel a spider's web like on your face, which I now know again is an electromagnetic field. And about 10 to 15 seconds after I felt this, never said anything to her, she launches her head back and says, this is powerful. I'm going to have to close my eyes for this one. My bum's going more and more down the bench now, because this is all new to me. And in the next 10 minutes, and again a week later, that was the last time I went, she was telling me that she was being told to tell me that I was going to go out on a world stage and reveal great secrets. One man cannot change the world, but one man can communicate the message that can change the world. That I was going to face enormous opposition and ridicule and stuff, but they, whoever they are, will always be there to protect me. Now, I came out of that, not exactly neutral, but well, we'll see what happens. But what has happened since, all that she told me, and more, has unfolded in the most synchronistic way, like some force. I've been walking through a maze, and some force has been opening and shutting the doors to send me down the channels. And right to this day, that's how it's come about. If I'd have done this just by trying to work it out, no chance. But because of the synchronicity of the information coming to me, I've been able to put this stuff together. I've always just gone with my intuition. Does this feel right, or doesn't it feel right? It's a form of consciousness. It's not some bloke with a beard sitting on a throne. What we're fed. It's consciousness, and we are a point of attention within an infinite consciousness. This is why racism and self-identity with labels of race and religion, etc., is so ridiculous. It divides and rules us. They are just experiences for our point of attention, awareness to experience. See the connections between them. You stop seeing pixels, you start seeing pictures, and then the world opens up. Because it's the end game. Up to this point, human perception, which otherwise human control by controlling human perception, has been done by controlling information that people receive. The AI endgame, which they're openly talking about in Silicon Valley, people like the Google executive Ray Kurzweil, openly, this is why so many people recently have come out and said, hold on, where are we going? About connecting the human brain or the human body thinking processes, the human mind, to AI. And what Kurzweil says is that after this connection, which he's talking about 2030, that's what he's...
Today.